in America right now, so I'm going to give you just the facts, right? The testable stuff, stuff you need to know for exams, boards, and things like that. Let's start with a case. 30-year-old man, healthy, bodybuilder, taking anabolic doses of testosterone for 2-month cycles over a year. While he's on these medications, which is true, A, his fertility is preserved, B, his own testosterone levels get higher, C, his muscle mass increases, and D, his testicle size increases. That's it. The rest is wrong, right? Okay, so testosterone, made from cholesterol in the adrenal gland. Some of the early substrates are in the adrenal gland. If you take these substrates, you don't necessarily get a high testosterone, right? It may get ground up. But it goes to the testicle and gets made into the testosterone. About 10% of testosterone is adrenal testosterone. The rest is made in the testicle. Has 2 byproducts, DHT, dihydrotestosterone, estradiol. That's the biology. I always forget all this stuff in the middle, right? So what does it do? There's a lot of debate on this, so I'm just going to say stuff that's probably true. Blood probably helps your clotting. It probably helps your heart. We don't know for sure. It's good for liver health. It reduces fat. It's anabolic. Keeps your health up your bone. It probably helps your mood. I'll show you the study. The best study just came out. And some spatial memory, body hair alters it. It will give you polycythemia. I mean, if you get high enough, erythropoietin depends on it. It can maintain your sex organs. It can improve your bone density, but it won't get you a nice car. So it comes in several forms. You can get the free form. So think of testosterone as cars in a parking lot, and only a couple of them are going to actually do the work of the day and going out, and the rest of them are going to sit there all day. So only a few of them start. That's the free form. It's 2% of the total. Albumin is cars that may start but not get out of the parking lot, but they'll try, sort of available. And then the highly bound, the cars that won't start are the SHBG bound ones. That's not available for use. Okay, and that all fluctuates between the different. So the amounts fluctuate a little bit between free albumin and HBG. That's the total. The total's all of it. So you could look at the parking lot, look at all the cars, but the bioavailable is only albumin and free. So that's just a little biology. And also, what's also true is that as you get older, your total testosterone levels from 30 to 90 and free testosterone from 30 to 90 will fall. These are groups from the Baltimore Longitudinal Study of Aging. This is like, accurate data now. And they both fall with age, and it's sort of progressive. It's not just at one age, or it's not a cliff. And what's also true is your SHBG levels, that's the tight binding stuff, go up. So that's not a good situation for lots of men, because when they're young, they have bioavailable T that's this much, and as they get older, their total levels may be the same, but their bioavailable levels go down because SHBG goes up. So that's a natural history, what's happening to men, mainly 60 to 90. And so that is the physiology that makes things popular. But then, there's a lot of stuff on the market, and there's a lot of side effects, and it's a complex field right now. But I'll tell you what's testable, what's not. So what are the real benefits? We know muscle mass is benefit. Body fat, visceral fat is benefit. Bone density is benefit. Libido, I'm going to show you the one study that's the best one, because it's hard to measure libido, right? I told you, the planetary view, right? You put libido in the middle, it can be a million things doing it. So, but the other stuff is less clear. This is why most men take it, right? I fall asleep after dinner, I'm not as fit as I used to be, and my erections are poor. And it's terrible for that. So, this stuff is fuzzy. This is what's going to help change things. I don't know if it's testable yet. Oh, it's just getting published, but there's a group of clinicians doing the 7 Hills of Rome study, the 7 testosterone trials. and 3 of them have been published, or 3 of the aspects have been published, but there's 7 clinical trials being done in a multi-center way, 51,000 men screened to find 800 that qualify. So highly selected patients, 65 years old or older, healthy, documented low testosterone, clearly hypogonadal, healthy older men. Okay, that's what they chose. And they're looking at a bunch of things. They gave them gels or placebos for a year, so short term, and they aimed for mid-normal range of a young man's testosterone. And they're looking at physical, sexual, cognitive function, vitality, it's going to be defined, anemia, bone density, coronary artery plaque. So really important stuff. And the first 3 studies came out. Sexual function, 65-year-old men, truly hypogonadal. There's no question these men are low. More sex drive, better erections. You know, in that one group of men. So you guys, your patient's over 65, he's got a 275 nanogram per deciliter testosterone or lower. You know, he may see benefit. It was pretty substantial over placebo. Physical function, they walked farther and they were in a better mood, but that was hard to judge a little bit. And vitality, no difference. I'm not sure, it's complicated to measure like how happy you are. It's the survey, but that didn't change at all. Maybe the survey wasn't sensitive. This is New England Journal paper. So this is the stuff that's going to be testable. I like testosterone replacement in the right men because of this study. This is a VA study, so we have one national healthcare system for veterans. And this was Orange Shores did this paper in a medicine journal where he just looked at, 1,000 men with normal testosterone levels and looked at their all-cause survival in a Kaplan-Meier way at the VA from a large pool. And he found that, the survival of men with normal testosterone levels was about 80% at 8 years. And if you took the same group of men in the same system that had low testosterones, they survived at 65%. So it was a pretty big difference in survival at 8 years in these 2 groups. And so it leads me to believe that testosterone if having a low testosterone won't kill you, you're not going to die of anything in particular, you're just going to wear out faster. It's like having not enough oil in the car. You're just going to wear out. That's what's probably happening with it. So that's all you really know about benefit, that you can hang your hat up. It's not a lot that you can really do it. So that's it. That's really the best data. And then this is really important. If you're going to snap one picture, that's the picture, because this is so testable, which is you got to have a guy with a low testosterone, and you got to have a guy with a symptom that fits the picture, right? And so it's the Adam questionnaire, androgen deficiency, aging male. So it has to be consistent, appropriate, with a low testosterone. You can't have one or the other. You can't just treat the symptom. That would be malpractice. Morning total testosterone is best before 10 a.m. It could be 30% higher in the afternoon, 30% lower in the afternoon. So you want a morning testosterone, that's really official. And repeat it if it's low. Don't act on one blood test. If the total is equivocal, use a free or bioavailable. Use validated assays. So the best one is dialysis, which isn't done anymore, but you can use calculated ones online, and those are considered acceptable now, even though they may not be accurate. You want to replace them to the mid-normal range, and you want to monitor in a standardized way. You can get in trouble for this because there's contraindications to it. Those are multi-society guidelines. So generally, you get the morning testosterone, repeat it if you need to. This is American, so 300 to 800 is classically normal. Below 250, you could go ahead and treat symptoms. If it's equivocal, you evaluate a free. I usually go a little higher to see if it's secondary hypogonadism. So a low T could be a testicular failure problem, but just maybe stress, and it may be that the LH is low, so the testicle is not being told to make testosterone. So that's a different problem. That's secondary hypogonadism. Prolactin would be the cause of that. That's a brain tumor. You want to make sure you find that, right? Low free testosterone, consider treatment. Normal, no treatment. And if it's above 300, no treatment. That's kind of, from most society guidelines, that's the way you would work this. And then we're talking a little bit about the kinds of problems. If you look at the EMAS study of 3,000 men and look at their testosterone levels, there's several groups of men. There's these men. These guys have normal testosterones and low LHs. So that would be eugonadal. There's men who have low testosterones and high LHs. Those are primary hypogonadal patients, do best on testosterone because the testicle is being whipped and it's not doing a good job. And there's a group here of secondary hypogonadal men who have low T and low LH who don't necessarily need testosterone. They need to get better semen. And then this is compensated hypogonadism, where you have a reasonable testosterone, but you're going a little higher in the LH, but you're still in the normal range. So these secondary ones are typically secondary to something else, secondary hypogonadism. And the most common one is obesity and diabetes. But opioids can do it, and then diseases can do it. So those are where you become, you're important. Testosterone replacement, when you not give it, known or suspected prostate cancer, known or suspected breast cancer, I don't know why that's on there, but relative contraindication, elevated hematocrit, you'll see strokes. If they go high enough, they'll get polycythemic and you have pulmonary emboli, DVTs, and strokes, sludging of blood. And then pre-existing sleep apnea is sort of a soft call, and high-grade urinary issues is probably not a great thing for them. They might get worse. And the risks are worsening sleep apnea, infertility. We know they're going to be pretty low or zero. Polycythemia, that's the most concerning one. That's deadly. It's based on a study of 9 men who had a hematocrit above 55, and 3 of them had strokes. So that's not to scare everybody. I don't think it's that bad, but all my men up there I watch carefully. Water retention. Cardiovascular disease is all over the place. So the FDA, our FDA, any study that shows a complication with testosterone, it highlights highly. And then the lawyers highlight it. Did you have a heart attack while on testosterone? Did you have a stroke while on testosterone? You can make money in court. Okay, so because the FDA is scared. Our FDA is worried about testosterone because what happens? So we allowed direct-to-consumer marketing. So drugs, you'll see it on TV, you know, the rheumatic disease drugs and stuff. They give you the drug, how it'll cure your rheumatoid arthritis. But most of the ad is talking about the complications. Like it's 5 seconds of what it does, and the next 25 seconds is, you know, you get this. So they're allowing to directly sell to consumers, and so can testosterone. So what does eating testosterone says? Are you falling asleep after dinner? Are you enjoying life? Are you enjoying life less than you used to? You falling asleep after these lectures? You need testosterone. You all need testosterone, right? So all of a sudden, testosterone is the cure, and it's going nuts. It's a $3 billion industry going to 6, and it's all this biology going on. So it's out of control, and the FDA doesn't like it. So it's gonna raise concerns with every study showing side effects. I don't have time to go over the 3 clinical trials looking at heart attack rates and strokes in men who started testosterone, but they were terrible studies. But that's what the FDA wants. They want to see that stuff. They want to shake us up and get us back to normal. So controversial. Probably not going to get asked about that. Lots of ways to take it. We don't have oral in America, but it's elsewhere. People worry about first pass liver inactivation, hepatotoxicity. We have parenterals, right? We have long-acting parenterals like libido, patches, gels, lots of gels, 6 or 7 kinds of gels, buccal pills, nasal now. There's a nasal spray. So you take it and you go in each nostril 3 times a day. Forget about it if you have the flu, your nose is running, right? Not going to do it. So not going to go down well, but it's a crazy market. And then we have subcutaneous pellets injections, which are pretty popular. And each have their issues. But this is like, erections. We have ways to treat it. So here's a case. 55-year-old, hypogonadal. His baseline PSA is 1.8. I mean, 1.8 is like, it's not as low as you'd like it. You'd like it below 1, right? But it's 1.8, and he's got a normal rectal exam. How do you follow him on testosterone? Because the FDA says you've got to worry about this. Do you do a PSA 3 months and then annually? Do you PSA, he has a baseline. Do a PSA 3 months, every 3 months for 2 years, and then annually? Do you check them at 1 year and then discuss the issue with the patient? Or do you forget about it? Who says A? Who says B? A couple B. C? D. Wow. Yeah, this is what's happening in America. But this is probably what you need to do. So the recommendations from the physician is when you start therapy, you have your baseline symptoms, hematocrit, PSA, and a bone scan, if you're doing it for bone density. You wouldn't repeat that for 18 months, but the symptoms are reassessed early on, because you do expect a bounce in the PSA, right? A bump, PSA bump, about 10%. So if it's more than that, I don't know if I'd worry about it, but you do get a little bump here, and then if that's pretty even, then I would check them annually. And I would say that although we're not screening men for PSA anymore in America, this guy has been told, he's on a drug that you're worried about, so you will probably screen him, right? And then a bone scan later on. So that's kind of annually after that. So it's a little tricky. I'm not even sure it's testable now. Here's another case: 30-year-old single man, 30-year-old, recent low libido, erectile dysfunction. I never see morning wood anymore. That's actually a good indication of erection problem. Morning woods, right? AM erections. Broke up with his girlfriend after 6 years. He lost half his wealth in the IPO for Facebook. So Facebook was a nice company, but they really messed up their IPO when they went public. It really went wrong, really quickly. And everyone thought they made a lot of money, and they lost a lot of money. So he was pretty stressed out when he came in. Here are his numbers. Testosterone. I know why this is happening. The buttons are so close. My fat fingers are hitting the wrong one. But testosterone is low, but his LH and FSH are low. And his prolactin's normal, and he doesn't have diabetes, and he doesn't have hemochromatosis. So he's secondarily hypogonadal. Should you give him testosterone replacement? You could, but he's going to want to get off it for a kid. And you're going to do it for 60 years? What are you going to give him for 60 years? Right? I mean, this doesn't make sense. So for a guy like that, you don't do anything. Okay. Yeah, for a guy like that, you look at all of the suspects, right? Low desire. You look here, because classic cause of secondary, diabetes. Then you would look for other things, drugs, sleep. Sleep apnea causes secondary hypogonadism. Stress, probably number one. Is he under a little stress? Probably. His whole personal value system is based on his IPO. Low testosterone, we know prolactin injury. Okay, right? So there you go. Let me just show you about stress. Okay, best study ever done in my opinion. Military study, 10 men, soldiers. They had their blood drawn every 20 minutes, so I think they had a line in. They had a control week before they went, and then 84 hours of military operational stress in a week. Okay. So the first week they were watched with no particular stress. The second week they went through continuous combat drills, marches, 2 hours of sleep a day, 1 meal, 1 snack. That was physical stress, sheer physical stress, right? Olympic sport type stress. And they measured LH, FSH, so they lost their LH. 46% decrease in LH levels with stress. Burst interval improved. 25% lower testosterone. 30% lower free testosterone. Something happened, right? The second week versus the first week. So, killer stress and their testosterone falls. Does that make sense? Yeah, because what happens when you're stressed? That's fight or flight, right?